a volunteer, May Arthur, who lives in Natick. Her and her husband both have Teslas, and this is the third time Natick has done a National Drive Electric event. But basically, we're here to just showcase residents and people who are coming to Wegmans at the mall. We're trying to show them electric cars that are owned by real people and talk to drivers about if it makes sense for them to go electric. And as you can see, it's really fun for everyone. This is the town's car. So the town of Natick has 3 electric passenger sedans. They're all Ford Focus electrics. And this one is used, this is our first one that we got in town. It's used by the assessor's office, and they use it to make local trips to do inspections for assessing homes and projecting their values. And then we have 2 other ones that are the same. One is used by the health department for local inspections, and then the other is used by volunteers at our senior center to make local trips for seniors and residents who are homebound to take them to the pharmacy and appointments that they can't make on their own. So we just completed electric vehicle assessment of the majority of our municipal fleet, including some of our larger trucks. And we have a hybrid upfit of our new water service van. So this is a van that is a Ford Transit that we use to make local trips to people's homes to check their meters and things like that. And we just ordered our first hybrid bucket truck. So that's what the fire department uses to repair traffic lights. And we continue to just evaluate opportunities. So our analysis, we just talked about this the other day with MAPC, a regional planning agency that helped us with it through the National Electric Fleet Program. And the analysis showed us that our entire range of vehicles really makes sense from economics and a range perspective for going electric. And over time, the power of electric vehicles in terms of supporting trucks that do plowing and things like that, we're really seeing that improve. And so we expect that in the future, it's possible that our whole fleet could be electric. Well, this event was actually first co-event between Wellesley and Natick. So a resident, Philippa, from Wellesley, she contacted me to do this, and we partnered on it a couple years ago on the Natick Common. And I know a lot of other towns are working on similar initiatives. I know that Framingham is hiring a sustainability coordinator, and that position is going to be responsible for looking into EV charging stations as well. I've driven it myself. I don't drive it on a regular basis. I drive a hybrid around town on my own personal vehicle, but it's been really interesting. So I started working for the town about 4 years ago, and since then we've really seen a big uptick in electric vehicles in the area, and we're starting to install different EV charging stations around town. We have 3 charging stations in Natick that are public that people can use for free for charging, and we're looking at more opportunities. And at the same time, EverSource, the utility servicing Natick, and a lot of the other surrounding communities, they have a program where they're going to be installing 4,500 EV charging stations over the next 3 years. So Massachusetts overall is really investing heavily in EV infrastructure, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
No, actually, this is just the charging that the mall has.
What's the name of your company?
I don't have a company. I'm just a regular person that is into electric vehicles.
Okay.
This is the Bramo Impulse R. It's came out, and this is a 2014 model. This is one of the few electric motorcycles that actually has a clutch, so it rides more like a normal motorcycle. There's a few other companies out there that are doing electric motorcycles. Harley Davidson's coming out with a model of 3 different models, and there's another company called Zero, which they try to compete with. They're no longer in business, but this style is actually going to be coming out in another bike. Not much different. I don't have any heat coming off of the engine. There's no heat off of the exhaust, so that's the main difference. It's a little bit torquier than a regular gasoline motorcycle that I had. They actually did have a little bit of a whir, a noise. It sounds like a Power Wheels. I'm hoping that with the Harleys they'll have some type of a speaker system so you can make some type of a noise. Yeah, the Harley guys are going to want to make noise no matter what. So this one does have a noise. I've test driven the Livewire, and there was a little bit of a noise, which is the Harley Davidson prototype. When I come to a stop, it's completely silent. That's the main thing. This actually does feel a little better. You don't have the centrifugal force of the motor, the pistons moving when you go into corners. So it actually rides a lot easier cornering than a normal bike. not many people know about electric motorcycles, and they've been around for a long time. Unfortunately, do not have an electric car that was bought. I have a couple that were built that I did not build. I do plan on building my own electric truck in the future. That's the plan. If you're into motorcycles, this is one of the best. Victory bought the rights to it. Polaris is now going to be re-releasing it. I don't know exactly when. But if you're used to riding motorcycles and can't give up a clutch, this is definitely, keep an eye on Polaris. And if you're into American muscle, Harley-Davidson's going to be coming out with a version. And so if you're into dirt bikes, there's actually another company called Alta, and they make an electric dirt bike. So there's a few companies out there, and it's just I love two wheels. My first license was a motorcycle license, so I'm into motorcycles and bicycles. Actually, I work at a bike shop, a Ferris wheels bike shop in Jamaica Plain. I own my own bike shop. I do a mobile bike shop. I do mobile repairs, so that's Mel's Mobile Bike Shop. So I'm into two wheels, and even three.
What I have here is a 2016 Kia Soul. It's an EV. It's all electric. She's a great car for, I think, we have a lot of Teslas here, which are beautiful cars, and I love them. But it's good to know that we have some EVs that are in a different range as well. So the Kia Soul has a much lower sticker price. This is a 2016. Newer Souls will get more mileage, but this one comes in at about 81 miles in the summer, which is what it officially says on the dashboard. But if you drive, say, on Route 9, where you have a lot of stop-start traffic, you'll find that you actually get a lot more miles per charge out of it. I chose this car for a bunch of reasons. My first car was actually a smart EV, which I absolutely loved. It was really zippy, it was terribly fun to drive. But this car has an actual functional back seat, which the smart EV does not have. It also has a bigger trunk, and it's a little more stable on the highway. The Smart I loved, but when you're driving on 128, there are some windy spots, or a tractor trailer would come by. I would feel a little bit nervous, and this car's great. She's really stable. She does fine at highway speeds. Actually, they tend to be heavier.
The batteries?
The batteries, and a lot of the cars plan to have the batteries toward the bottom, and that gives it a lot more stability. They're less likely to tip. Sure. I love mine. One of the reasons I wanted to bring her was that people don't always know what's available, and the Kia Soul EV is one that a lot of people will say, oh, I didn't know they made it an electric version, and so I just wanted to kind of raise awareness that there's a lot more out there than just maybe the ones that usually get the headlines. I know the rebates are usually geared to try to kind of take some of the sting out of getting an EV car. This one is eligible for the Massachusetts rebate, which is $2,500, which is a straight up rebate. They send you a check. It's also eligible for the $7,500 tax credit. And I think part of the reason for the rebates and the tax credit is to try to kind of split the difference a little, especially for the early adopters, and until the technology gets such that it's not as expensive to produce, and then hopefully that'll sort of take care of itself. Well, it's funny, I actually took this in for its annual checkup, and they didn't know what to do with it because it has no oil. You still do need to put washer fluid in, so has brakes. The brakes actually, because there's regenerative braking to help charge the battery, the brakes are not, they don't wear out quite as quickly. They're not put into use quite the same way. So the maintenance on these is actually pretty minimal. One thing you do want to check in a lot of cases is the battery state of health for the car batteries. Yeah, I had to actually remind them to rotate and align the tires because they pretty much looked at it and said, okay, annual checkup, the brake lights work, what do you want us to do? So they're a lot of fun to drive. They have instant torque, so they have really good pickup. They're really responsive, and because I think of the low center of gravity, it also sort of corners nicely. And for me, it's really easy. I actually feel a little bad answering some questions because I'm not incredibly knowledgeable about electric cars. And I think a lot of people who are car geeks and so on love them. There's a lot of really interesting facts about them and how they work. but you don't really need to know all that to drive an electric car. I come home, I plug it in the garage, I go on with the rest of my evening, I wake up in the morning, I unplug it, she's good to go. There's a lot you can learn and it's great, but you don't have to know it to drive it.
Well, it's National Drive Electric Week. There's many sponsors: Plug-in America, Sierra Club, Electric Automobile Association. I guess you can call me the electrical vehicle activist. I mean, in the good sense, not in the sense of like chaining myself to trees or stopping trucks, from driving down the road. This is Drive Electric Week, so there's events in many towns throughout New England and across the country. There's many events going on today. We attended an event last weekend in South Weymouth, Mass. There's events all over. So my car is a 2012 Tesla Model S, and since the 2012 came out, they've added four-wheel drive, which is great to have in New England. But the other interesting aspect is that now the Tesla Model 3 is out and it uses a different battery chemistry, and it's lighter and more efficient. And so the range has gotten larger over the years. What makes them so much fun to drive? Well, it's almost a surreal experience because in a gas car, when you're accelerating, you hear the engine shifting gears, you can feel it shifting gears, but there's no feedback like that in an electric car. So the car magically accelerates like an airplane because it's so silent, but at the same time, unlike a gas car, which has a transmission, an electric car has only one gear, and you have the full torque of the motor with that one gear, so it's exhilarating to drive because it's so fast. The negatives is, one of the things is, and again, you wouldn't know this if you talk to like a car dealer or a car salesman, but someone who owned a car, they can tell you that in the winter your range goes down. The cold weather isn't as good for a battery as the warm weather is. Well, the newer ones, unlike my car, the newer ones get over 300 miles of range. I think some of them are up to roughly 320 miles of range, which is, pretty much on par with what a gas car can do. I know that some gas cars have more range than that, but with 300 miles, I think you can go to Philadelphia without stopping. So Tesla has their own private network of charging stations, and there's one minutes away from here that opened in the last few months. But there's hundreds of charging stations. I think there's over 500 Tesla charging locations across the country, but most of them have like 8, 10, 12, some of them up to 20 stalls per location, where sometimes you look at another charging network and they'll have one per location. But Tesla averages about 10 per location, so it's amazing to go in and always, pretty much always know you're going to get a charger. The new cars have all the autopilot stuff, all the autopilot hardware and cameras, and mine doesn't have any of the sensors. So unfortunately, I still have to drive my car myself, but I'm the type of person that wants to keep driving until they have to take the steering wheel out of my hands. Like cold dead hands. I enjoy driving too much to have someone else do it for me.